devastating globalist lies, exposing the mainstream media's propaganda machine, tirelessly waging war on corruption, from deep in the heart of FEMA Region 6 in Austin, Texas, transmitting worldwide, it's Alex Jones. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
You've got it.
This is not a drill. This is not a game. This is life and death. This is not a radio infotainment broadcast. This is 100% real. I'm somebody who has nightmares at night over this stuff. I believe it 110%. I know I'm telling the truth. I've studied history. I've studied authoritarian systems. I've read the government documents, the think tank documents that are public. I've interviewed the whistleblowers. There is a criminal, illegitimate takeover of our nation. The globalists have gobbled up scores of third world countries using the same strategy, the same deceptive stratagem. They need to brainwash and incrementally manipulate bureaucrats, the general public, the military, the police, to carry out the abomination of total police state takeover, political arrest, confiscation of property and firearms that we are now entering. And they will use it at a key trigger point during a deep depression with massive terror attacks as an overlay, blamed on domestic groups. The globalists will kill police officers all over the country and blame it on libertarian conservative groups. We've caught British intelligence, U.S. intelligence, and Israelis, mainstream news. It's in my film, the documentary Terror Storm. We've written countless articles about it. Just search British commandos caught attacking police in Basra, and you'll get London Guardian with them dressed up like Muslims running around shooting people. And then the British military attacked the Basra police station to get them out because they couldn't have them interrogating them or putting them on trial for it. And that was to get Shiites and Sunnis killing each other. Marines have testified they've caught Israeli contractors doing the same thing. They've got units of other contractors out of the U.S. who've been caught. This is all on record. So I want you to understand, if they can't get some mindless idiot who isn't very capable to go out and blow you up or shoot you, they're going to send in commandos to kill you deader than a hammer. And that, of course, is in Operation Northwoods, U.S. government Pentagon green-lighted plan to stage shootings in Miami, D.C., and Baltimore, Maryland, and to shoot citizens, police officers, you name it, and blame it on the communists to start World War III. That program was never implemented in the U.S. It was implemented in Europe under Operation Gladio. I hope you're taking notes, okay? I'm not just saying this. You look up Operation Gladio, NATO option, it's declassified. Our government staged over 200 bombings in Europe to blame it on their enemies. Folks, it's time to grow up, okay? I'm not risking my life to play games here. This is real. And they know if they kill me now or shut me down now or set me up now, that'll just underline and highlight everything I've said. But that doesn't mean they still might not do it. I have to face this every day. And I'm doing it because I understand how horrible it's going to be for you and your children and my children if these people get away with this. This is not some boss hog tyranny with just some stealing and some thieving by government. That's already been going on. They've stolen $4+ trillion from the Pentagon in the last 10 years. They've stolen the pension funds. Even Bloomberg reports they signed secret deals 11 years ago to take the death benefits of all dead and dying World War II through Gulf War I vets. When the people die now, they don't get their insurance money that they paid into. That was an agreement with the Department of Veterans Affairs. I mean, look, they're not committing crimes like this because they think you're going to take the country back and bring them to justice. They're going to make sure we go into hardcore tyranny so they get away with all this. You understand what I'm telling you here? Choose a side now. And if you're still on the fence, denying the stuff's going on, get up off your hind end and research everything I'm breaking down. I'm getting chills right now. I can't even hardly do this radio show. All right. Look at this story. It just went up at prisonplanet.com about 10 minutes ago. It's going up at Infowars.com right now. Bill would protect big sis citizen spies from lawsuits. And I've given it the headline, a little different from Prison Planet headline, that, shocker, citizen spy networks to be given immunity. And I've gone over the article in the legislation, scanned over it, and it's just unspeakable. This is so the cable person, the phone repair person, the plumber, the school teacher, the doctor, all of the people where you supposedly have attorney-client privilege, doctor-patient privilege, or when you're hiring a company to come in and do your cable, or when you're bringing realtors into your house and they see a reloading kit. We've had that happen to one of our writers, JT Coyote, and they call the SWAT team on you. And I've had 12 years ago now, of course, a carpet cleaner saw a shotgun on the wall. I didn't have children then, so I had the shotgun, up on a gun rack on my wall in my studio. I was doing the show out of my house then, the broadcast out of the bedroom, back bedroom. And he freaked out and ran off to call the police, and I was able to call the company and stop it and say, this is Texas. My shotgun's not illegal, but it was like a $300 Defender Winchester cheap pump shotgun, and it just freaked the guy out. And that's the new America right there. We got to stop this. We got to peacefully speak out now and warn everybody and really break the trance that people have been incrementally brought into to just accept more and more tyranny. We got to make a noise every day, everywhere. I mean, every gas station I go in, every grocery store. I'm not just talking to the clerk now. I'm talking in the parking lot. Last night, children had gone to bed. We were going to watch part of a movie, and my wife wanted something from the store. I drove up, and I spent 10 minutes talking in the parking lot and to people gassing their cars up and inside, and they were kind of looking at me like I was crazy at first until they heard the authoritative information, like, wow, I'll check into it. But I was talking to folks gassing up their cars. It's a big gas station. I was walking around in the front of the parking lot. I was just standing there going, warning. That's what it takes. Okay? And the whole time I'm watching an hour of that movie, we got tired, went to bed. I couldn't even watch the movie. I was just thinking about all this. That's the normal response to FEMA camps, to checkpoints, to surveillance blimps and drones, to face scanning cameras, to citizen spies openly being announced and telescreens going in 9,000 locations, Walmart's, malls saying spy on your neighbors. There's probably coming a time very soon that we're not going to be able to hear us on air. I'm telling you, I can look at everything going on, and I can tell you right now, if we don't make a big noise now and accelerate the awakening, it's already got the globalists on their heels a bit. That's why they're trying to move forward fast. They're fleeing forward. But if we don't really launch massive initiatives everywhere in your towns, your cities, to really get people's attention, it's over. Now, you look on fluoride. I've told people in the last year to go to all their city councils to file lawsuits, not just over the fluoride, but all the other lead, mercury, arsenic, the radioactive isotopes that are in the water. That has started. So the feds are backing off, saying, okay, we'll take half the fluoride out, maybe all of it, because they know they can get us in the food and the toothpaste. They're adding it to thousands of foods. Almost every processed food has it added. There's levels that are deadly poisonous in many powdered eggs, just to name one example. And now they're kind of backing off. See, when we were going to protest and when we were all going to say no to the body scanners, they backed off for 3 days. See, they don't want to fight us on an open field where we have the moral high ground and it's a peaceful resistance. They don't ever want to show you your power. You've got the power right now to change this tyranny and sweep it away. And I don't want to be imprisoned or tortured or be killed and then not win. I'm not worried about myself individually. When you really grasp this stuff and you're a man and you understand what it is to be a man, nothing special, not a hero, just a man, how could you not fight this? How could you not speak out against it? How could you not do everything you can? Those of you that have been in denial, there is no way to be in denial now. If you know any basics of history, this is flaming tyranny. This is the most sickening expression of it that I see growing. It's like a tough 14-year-old who, when they're a boxer, is beating up 25-year-old boxers. People say, this is going to be a champ. This New World Order is about like a 14-year-old that is just dripping with evil, and I see it growing fast. I see its muscles bulging, the veins, the neck getting big, and it's growing fast. And I'm like, whoa, we've seen that in history. That's bad news right there. I was a mainline conservative, folks, a Ron Paul-type libertarian when I first got on air. 16 years ago, and the listeners sent me documents and said there's an urban warfare drill. I'm a police officer in South Texas. They're training us for martial law. I'd get in the car, go see it, interview them, get the video, confirm it, and I'd go warn people and get laughed at. I interviewed police chiefs who the Army tried to buy off. Police chief of San Antonio. I discovered all this from real journalism. And then I already knew history, so I knew how to recognize what it was. They're not taking us down like they take down third world countries in a year or so. They've been setting this up for decades, securing their ill-gotten gains over the private banking syndicate, securing their thieving of the pension funds. The pension funds are gone. The private and public, it's already been stolen on record. They're now announcing the states are going to go bankrupt into federal and then international receivership. Just like Greece, just like Ireland. None of these cuts to government, which I think is good because we shouldn't be dependent on it. That's how they control us. None of these paltry cuts, these tiny cuts, are going to affect the 1.5 quadrillion. And now the bankers want 100 trillion on top, then leveraged to another quadrillion. Bare minimum. That's the fractional reserve banking slide rule. We're here. They're moving with their afterburners on, okay? I mean, I'm having to steel myself. I'm having to bolster my psyche and just go, I'm going into it. And a lot of people can't recognize what it is. I'm girding myself spiritually for the times we're going into. Now, here's the article. Shocker, citizen spy networks to be given immunity. Infowars.com, Paul Joseph Watson. New York Republican Peter King has introduced a bill that would protect the army of citizen spies Homeland Security hopes to recruit under Janet Napolitano's See Something, Say Something Snoop campaign. They've already set up the secret operations. Now this is the coming out of it. That's all these telescreens are, to make you not trust each other and to normalize spying. And now all the new announcements of the government's taking over the web. Don't trust anybody but your government. I mean, the announcements are going to get crazier and crazier. She hopes to recruit her Janet Napolitano's See Something, Say Something Snoop campaign from lawsuits brought by innocent people wrongly accused of being terrorist or extremist. See, they need everybody hysterical, reporting every cardboard box that flies out of the back of a truck, and SWAT teams and million-dollar robots, and everyone hyperventilating and shutting down highways every day all over the country. And drills unannounced at schools where terrorists take over. They don't tell the elementary kids it's a drill, and it scars them for life. We're all just being trained to accept incredible crimes. A top U.S. lawmaker unveiled legislation on Wednesday to protect individuals who tip off authorities to potential extremist threats from lawsuits in the event they turn out to finger innocents, reports the French news agency. And you read into what they've got these InfraGard and their subsidiaries doing. It's spying on their employees. They admit it's doctors asking patients questions, just unbelievably immoral and evil. It's demanding lawyers spy on their clients. You've been hearing about that. It's demanding that, well, they've announced cable companies and others, when they're in your house, they're spying on you. And I see the reports every few weeks where you have realtors in, they go in your garage and there's a gun reloading set, and it looks dangerous, and they don't ask you what is it. They're too dumb to know it says reloading, and they see a thing of black powder there, and they call the police on you. And the police go ahead and SWAT team you and go ahead and take your guns. That's not illegal, but it was an arsenal, and we took them. There's a bunch of things happening here. They're openly announcing tyranny so that those of us that are awake and know what's happening get scared and shut up. And if we allow that chilling effect to succeed, they've won. But it's also to acclimate the police, the military, the bureaucrats, the general public, that spying is a great patriotic thing to do. And then they get you into the spying thinking you're going to be spying on Al-Qaeda, and you find out it's the American people. And that's confirmed by all the MIAC and Homeland Security reports. I mean, we get new ones every week. They publish stuff that was secret years ago just publicly. Oh, are your neighbors talking about controversial things? Go ahead and call Homeland Security on them. Is somebody coming in your shop wanting to use cash, bad-mouthing credit cards? Go ahead and call Homeland Security on them. I mean, these are videos now airing on TV saying this. And they typecast these ditzy-type morons who go, that guy just paid with cash. Homeland Security, he paid with cash. I mean, this is going on. This doesn't have to happen. We don't have to go down this road. Those of you who aren't cowards, speak out and get involved. And those of you that have been on the fence making jokes about all this, stand up. The globalists think they're going to get away with this. It's so wildly corrupt, so classically tyrannical, that there should be no reason they should get away with this. No reason they should get away with putting their hands down your pants and putting you in radiation scanners while the border's wide open and they've canceled the virtual fence and most of the physical fence. But we can secure Afghanistan and Iraq's borders. Look, it's for us. The banks have robbed everything. Don't you get it? George Soros is over in Davos saying again he's had a great crisis and loves what's happening to everybody. They've lied to you about the economy getting better. They've designed this implosion. They've done it over and over again in other nations. They know exactly what they're doing. And they're planning on the increased crime and the breakdown of society being the rollout excuse for all of this tyranny that they've been quietly behind the scenes getting ready. It's kind of like old World War II footage I've seen of the ship works in New York and Boston and other places, and they'd show a big, giant curtain, and it would crank back on a big cable, and you'd see a huge ship, a battleship or submarine, and they'd chop the blocks, and it would just slide in. I'm somebody who 16 years ago had studied history, so I recognized, hey, what's that big curtain over there? What's all those guys in black uniforms running around? Again, this is a parable, boiling it down. Let me go over and look behind the curtain. And I looked behind it, and I saw this giant weapon system, and I saw them openly training to use it against us. I mean, to boil it down, the globalists have amassed giant spy networks, paramilitary forces, training, secret police, torture, every horrible thing you can imagine behind the scenes, and now they've started to pull the curtain back. And they're going, look at it, it's to keep you safe from Al-Qaeda. And we go, well, look, here's all your training manuals, this is for us. Shut up, terrorist. In fact, that's in the documents, that if you don't like this and say it's for you, you're a terrorist. Well, you just proved my point right there. Silence. I want to just state on record that our film, Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA, released last year, 100% documents the entire martial law FEMA camp control grid and how they would roll it out. The Emergency Centers Act, the Washington Post, the Houston Chronicle reporting on the contracts for FEMA emergency centers during insurrection, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act of 2007, 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, Army and Homeland Security and Marines running illegal checkpoints all over the country, pulling citizens out of cars, taking blood at checkpoints. All of this is being done. The citizen spy networks. I had a military colonel from the Army on admitting they were doing gun confiscation drills in Arcadia, Iowa. It's a 2-hour film. You want to understand it all, it's there. I'm an expert on this, more than probably anybody out there who isn't in the government and at the top of the pyramid who actually are running this. I'm the expert from the outside, going to the drills, reading the FEMA documents, all of it proven. And there's endless speculation about, do they exist? It is the Base Closure Act that ties in, and everything we laid out before they released last year, the Emergency Centers Act, that act, to just get more funding and make it more official, codifies and proves our entire analysis, exactly how it'll be for homeless people who are locked up at night for their safety, emergency centers during disasters, or insurrection. There's no denying this. We have the biggest prison population in the world already. 4 million behind bars, 3 million in and out of the system. No one can deny the police state grid being put into place. And there's a story at Infowars.com by Milo Nichols, police trained that FEMA camps are perfectly normal. And he links to FEMA documents that we've covered here on air, Unit 6 ICS facilities. And when you link through to this, and it's on page 2 of the article, it's training.fema.gov, you will read about the emergency camps. Now, I've been to urban drills going back 13 years ago, and I've been to many of them, where they train the police and the military with role players saying, I'm your brother, I'm your cousin, I've got rights, you can't take me to the camp. And they're running drills all over the country to lock down highways, check your license with buses and Army trucks. They've trained police nationwide to drive the buses during mass arrest situations, which they can then use during these emergencies. But I'm going to be going over this. And in this latest article, a police officer pointed it out to the Activist Post, and they wrote about it. But this is what we've covered. Okay, they are training It was just in the news last year that they're training the Austin police at Fort Hood for emergencies and sending them to Iraq to learn how to set up checkpoints and run license and backgrounds and take people to jail and line citizens up and face scan you and put you in databases or check you according to the DMV database. This is on record, okay? And it's totally unconstitutional. It's totally evil and scary and authoritarian. And the entire Homeland Security apparatus is pointed at the American people. Now, let's go to this 1-minute clip from MTV showing people being rounded up and put in a camp. Here it is. They're on a train, subway. The Holocaust happened, it says. And here's another one of them in their house being raided. SWAT team rounds up the family. And they're put in trucks. The Holocaust happened to people like us. Now, I have been there, and you've heard countless guests on this show who've been there, police, military, you name it, when they trained to have checkpoints and put people in trucks. It's Rex 84. It came out in congressional hearings. But still, there's this denial about it. Now, I want to show you Unit 6 ICS facility. And this has been brought back into the public's attention because a police officer sent it in to the activist post, but you can go right to FEMA.gov, training.fema.gov, and they all package it in, for emergencies or terror attacks or for civil unrest, and they do call them camps, and they say, we'll put up barbed wire around the sports complex, or we'll use the old military base. Well, what do we know? They were planning in the emergency relocation program. What are they training the clergy response teams, the preachers, to tell their flocks, go to the camps, take the inoculation, it's of the Lord? What's in the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act? Rounding people up, taking them to the local sports stadium. This is all there. And they're now accelerating the training of police to acclimate them to this. But the police officer says, Dear Milo, I love your site. I notice you haven't discussed FEMA camps yet, but here's some information that you might find interesting. I'm a police officer. Officer's identity withheld. Everyone in my department was recently required to take an online course sponsored by FEMA about the incident command structure. We've had emergency managers on from major states disguising their name and voice. Remember about the mass roundup plans in Indiana and waiting for 1 million dead and all of that, and hardening all the police facilities for terror attack. The incident command structure is the system of control set in place following a disaster, catastrophe, terror strike, or other such event. All of the documents from that course can be found at FEMA's website, training.fema.gov. EMI web /IS is 100 lst.asp. It's easier just to find this at Infowars.com. In particular, you should pay attention to Unit 6 ICS facilities. Here's the direct link. First, I'd like you to notice page 6 and 8 that is actually entitled Camps. In fact, show them page 6 and 8, please, where it says Camps. For folks watching on PrisonPlanet.tv, we have that PDF up. Now they claim the training that camps are temporary facilities and may not be required. I feel that they do this to condition the police that the camps are perfectly normal and may be necessary so that we don't hesitate to place people in the camps upon command. And then he goes through more of it. But the issue here is this is a cop who's getting a low-level general training. Then if you don't object, you get advanced into it. And I just sent the guys to Chicago last year, and it was foreign troops training to put American role players in a camp on video.